I discovered superheroes through television basically. My big favourites were Spider-Man and Batman, the animated shows of those two characters on kids' TV.
I discovered it back in like 2005 when the reboot series, the modern Doctor Who series came back with Christopher Eccleston. I sort of just walked in the living room when my mum and dad were watching it, and sort of got interested on the episode, and it all sort of gradually grew from there. So occasionally watching it, the odd episode, to being a bit more religious with when David Tennant turned up, and obviously growing and constantly growing.
I love my football. I always have. From an extremely early age, I've been introduced to football through my dad playing for so many years. He took me to my first Chelsea game when I was 5, Chelsea versus West Ham in the League Cup. We won 1-0.
Over the years, I gradually got into superhero comics, especially when I went to see Avengers Assemble back in 2012. That was sort of my moment of awakening. It was like, oh my gosh, these characters, these storylines and themes are great fun. And the more I delved into the comics, the more I was like, oh my gosh, this is my kind of mythology.
It's always been a part of my life, football. I love it. I've played it all my life as well, and watch it basically every week. Anytime there's football on telly, which is near enough every day, I'll sit down and watch football. If Chelsea are on, I'll stop all my plans. I won't work, I won't do anything else. I'll sit down or go to the game. Wherever it is that I can watch a game, I'll be there.
I think one of my best things is about how the character can change, like literally change every so often. Like his ability to regenerate when he's dying, or as it would be when an actor's contract is up, and they just sort of get a new actor to play the Doctor, and their own version of that Doctor, a completely different version of the previous one. And I think like the stories in itself, like they're always very interesting with like the characters they meet, like say meeting Shakespeare, meeting all these kind of historic characters.
Watching the movies, the TV shows, and of course the comics and graphic novels. I'm more a graphic novel guy than just buying an issue per month. I feel there's much more you get out of a paperback, hardcover volume than just a comic back.
So I think the reason I'm such a die-hard Chelsea fan, and why that is my fandom, is the fact that it's been there from the word go, and it's the only thing I've ever known, and it's probably the only thing I ever will know. I'm not going to change for any team, no chance. Chelsea is in my blood. My blood is blue.
Yes, I have. I've been to MCM Comic Con, I think about 5 times. The first time I went was probably about 2012, 2013. That was the first convention I went to, and the last convention I went to was a year ago, and I did my first cosplay, but it was only a minor one, and it wasn't about Doctor Who, so.
Sadly and surprisingly no, but I have seen documentaries which had footage of Comic-Con and people that attend that dress up as their favourite characters cosplay.
I still remember the FA Cup semi-final 2000, and I want to say it was 2008 or 2009, one of the two. Chelsea beat Arsenal, and I was there at Wembley, 90,000 people, first ever experience I'd had of Wembley, full capacity. Phenomenal experience to be there. For Chelsea to get the result, and then we went on to win the FA Cup that year as well. Nothing comes close to it. It's different. It's different gravy to anything else. To be there and to be part of that team and that unit that's supporting your team and cheering them on and seeing them win silverware is phenomenal.
I would like to go to a Doctor Who convention. I haven't been to any kind of just specific, like just Doctor Who conventions. There was one back in 2013, which was the 50th anniversary convention they did, and I wanted to go to that very badly because they had like all the doctors, all the living doctors there. The thing is, it sold out and the tickets were stupidly expensive. Like they were, I think, about £50 to £100 a ticket, depending on what you got, but the cheapest was about 50 quid. So I couldn't afford it at the time. And I am gutted because it was literally a once in a lifetime event, because it was the celebration of 50 years of Doctor Who.
Excluding online, not really.
There aren't really societies or clubs kind of associated to Doctor Who. I think those are just sort of nerdy clubs in general. So if you sort of go join like a gaming society, which I did, sort of interact with a lot of people who are sort of in that area. I haven't like seen any clubs or societies just solely based on Doctor Who. I don't think there's really much you can do on it. Like, yeah, you could probably talk theories, maybe you could talk like opinions, have debates, watch Doctor Who. But like if someone brings in a DVD, then watch the show, like watch an episode that no one's seen, like one of these. But I haven't really joined any clubs and like that. I just don't think it would probably work that well. But I could be wrong. It could probably work very well.
My dad's a season ticket holder, so any time that he can't go, I instantly go. I've got my own membership as well, so I've been started off really young, going to the cup games and going to ones that you can get tickets for, and then started to kind of get my own money in and start to go to the league games and then see the bigger fixtures, end up seeing all the big boys play against Chelsea and see Chelsea beat all of them as well. And I couldn't put an exact number on how many games I've been to, but we're talking way into the hundreds easily.
I'd say yes. I've been attempting to write film screenplays adapting superhero characters that I'm interested in. So obviously I've attempted to write a few Batman storylines. My latest one is writing a screenplay adaptation of Justice League Dark, which is basically DC Comics superhero team that deal with the darker, occult, mystic magic side of the DC universe.
Well, I write scripts in general as part of my course, and it's something I want to do as a career. I have written one story that I want to, very long shot, I want to try and get commissioned by the actual BBC and get it done, because I think personally it's a good idea. I think it's an interesting new concept where it could kind of revolutionise the show, but that's just my opinion. I have written stories on Doctor Who. I've written like complete new original ideas. I try and keep them up to date. They're also good. It's also enjoyable to try and kind of just integrate new ideas and new people, because it's like with that show, be scientifically accurate, but you can also explore what it would be like if the Doctor and his companions met this certain historical character. And I just think that's very interesting, and it's always something I've quite liked to do.
I've joined a hell of a lot of clubs. It doesn't matter who you support and everything like that. But when you want to play football, it's the same language everyone speaks to. You have the banter, you have the camaraderie with loads of different people. I've made some very good friends through playing football. So definitely I've played through football clubs all my life. I still do now. I still play in my work staff team. I create fan content because I enjoy it. It's one of those things that you, especially in football and how many games are played and how regularly they are played, you do need to commit to it fully.
I'd say a little bit of both, because it's like being that I want to be a writer for TV shows and films. I actually have the idea of I want to write the stories for the actual show and get them commissioned and get them bought and everything like that. But at the same time, it's kind of just fun and interesting to like get the Doctor to integrate with different characters or different timelines or completely new characters. That's why I like Doctor Who, because it's like the whole aspect of time travel and space travel. It's very interesting because you can do anything as long as it's obviously within the boundaries of, science.
So I started doing my YouTube channel because I wanted to showcase the awesome stuff that I was doing and the extra work that was going on around me, and it was extremely fun to be at these events, and that's what I wanted to showcase.
Like I said, it's like with my stories that I've written, I think they're personally quite good. A bit on the dark side, but I think they're quite good and could be quite a new, interesting way for the show to go. But that's just my opinion of what I think. I think they're decent. I've talked to people who thought they actually think it's a good idea. But if I actually get it read by someone at the BBC, they'll probably go, no. But I still hope that one day I can actually write for the show. When talking about like stuff like that, there's a company called Big Finish who do a lot of audio stories, and the stories they've made a lot of Doctor Who stories, and They are fantastic stories, and the company is a fan company. It's created by fans for people who want to experience like old Who but with new storylines and better storylines. So, and if they enjoy it, it's like, apparently it's been sort of confirmed as canon to the actual Doctor Who universe. If so, that's fantastic.
I'd have to say it's 6 or half one dozen of the other, really. It's just the reasoning tends to vary, I feel. Oh yes, absolutely. I could give you a laundry list of all the comic book characters that many people connect with easily. Spider-Man's one of the best examples. Like, as college and university students or secondary school, or if you're a 20-something-year-old in the workplace, can definitely relate to Peter Parker because he shares various day-to-day problems that all of us have. Thankfully, not all of us have to juggle all those issues with battling the likes of Dr. Octopus.
I'd like to agree, yes, because I think if a person is related to a character, and if their character development's very good, they can feel a connection. I think every Doctor has a connection to one person in the world. I have a connection to John Pertwee, who was this Doctor.
I create fan content because I enjoy it. It's one of those things that you, especially in football and how many games are played and how regularly they are played, you do need to commit to it fully.
I think one of my favourite quotes from the show from him was the idea of courage is not being brave, is being afraid but doing what needs to be done anyway.
Thankfully, no.
I have not been harassed online. I think when I was younger I get picked on a bit, but that's just children being mean.
Yes, basically every week. There's a lot of people in this world that are not Chelsea fans. Shock.
Doctor Who's it's not a harsh fandom. There are a few rotten eggs in the bunch, but really it's like Doctor Who's kind of a safe fandom, as it were.
I get harassed all the time. Doesn't massively bother me, but I do, it's people thinking they've got a right opinion or a wrong opinion, and that's the thing with football is it's such an opinionated subject.
No.
I see people get harassed online all the time.
Not that I know of. I think I've heard a few minor stories, but they've kind of just sort of been very tame. Like I said, it's not a very aggressive fandom.
I've come pretty close to wars. I would say, from my experiences and things that I've heard, DC Comics is, especially the DC Extended Universe cinematic franchise, is Marvel's big rival.
I'd say it's not a big war, but I would say probably one of the main ones is Classic Who versus New Who.
I see it every single day. Most of it's all light-hearted and banter, but there is also the flip side of that, which is not okay. Simple as it's not okay.
I think another one will probably be like Daleks or Cybermen. I'm a Cyberman person. I think Daleks are a bit overused. But other than that, it's kind of just like the main kind of conflict is Classic Who versus New Who, but it's not heavy. It's not like a toxic conflict. It's just like, oh, I prefer this to this, basically. So it's just an opinionated kind of thing, debating kind of thing, really.
Lewis from 100 Chelsea is very active on Twitter, and I see a lot of the abuse that he gets. Harassed, whatever you want to call it, is just bombardment. Lewis is quite good with how he words stuff, but even then he can't control what the person at the other end is saying.
Oddly enough, I almost signed a petition to release a 4-hour cut of Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, because I love that movie. I especially love the ultimate cut that we got on Blu-ray, because that's the better version that should have come out in cinemas, by the way.
I was one of the people that I'm a very big fan of Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and when that got cancelled, I was very annoyed, and I took to Twitter to say my opinion of it and how I couldn't believe that they'd that they'd stop that show and when it got cancelled. But you know, the fan opinion that day, obviously, it came through, and they got picked up by NBC, I believe.
I think any petitions that were to come about will be like, oh, a petition to fire Chris Chibnall from the series 12 or something like that, because obviously new series season didn't do too well with fans, but I'm worried that's a sexism thing because of the new Doctors being a female. I think that's also probably another petition is like, don't make the Doctor a female, but that's just a stupid toxic one. I stay away from it. So I haven't really taken part in petitions themselves, but I think I know a few little ones I've seen about.
That's about it. I would sign a petition for Netflix or Marvel Television to do a 4th season of Daredevil, because that's such a fantastic show. I'm a fan of comic book superheroes.